Tense atmosphere in Edo politics as race for the #1 seat in the state takes new dimensions. There's a lot of pressure on Governor Obaseki, who is incumbent governor, and how the race is going to pan out in the coming days. There's been a lot of big bang. We're discussing some of these issues tonight. And Bishop Matthew Kukah is asking for urgent action by government. The state of the economy and hunger in the land. Tonight, our attention is going to also be on leadership in Nigeria. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is the Friday edition of Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimbaloye. Let's get to it. First and foremost, it caught my attention what Bishop Matthew Hassan Kukah said today. Bishop Kukah is the Bishop of Sokoto Diocese of the Catholic Church. And the Most Reverend today said that there is an urgent attention that needs to be paid to the state of things in the country. And he's urged the administration of President Bola Tinubu to address the food crisis in the country. Bishop Kukah urged President Tinubu while making his remarks earlier today at the APC unveiling of the Progressive Institute in Abuja. According to Bishop Kukah, Nigerians are hungry and something urgent needs to be done. He also called for urgent steps to be taken to reduce the cost of fuel. Take a listen to Bishop Kukah.
Rather than being guided by science, sometimes, and I'm sure some of you sitting here will know what I'm talking about, major policy decisions in this country are taken through the necromancy of illiterate people who are sitting somewhere and chewing kola nut and doing nothing with their lives except projecting that this is what is going to happen. And so I'm saying, therefore, that this institution is there, for me, is important for me, because we need to move from speculation to science. Are you in APC or Labour or PDP? And you said, I am hungry. So it's important, and since I'm speaking to those who are in power, please know that we Nigerians are hungry. Find a way of reducing the price of fuel. Find a way of keeping our country secure. That would be the greatest legitimacy of any government.
Some of those who spoke at that event were speaking on the need for a democratic institute or progressive institute, to what benefit it will be for the APC and democracy and the politics of Nigeria. Take a listen to the governor of Edo State, who is the chair of the APC Governors Forum, and also the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje. Take a listen to both of them.
As part of a deliberate effort to promote inclusiveness and ownership in politics, this, we believe, will enhance the policy capacity of the party, especially to enable it to provide policy advice and suggestions for the consideration of governments elected on its platform.
When we have praised progressive ideology as a bedrock for the sustenance of democracy, we simply look at how our government, through its laudable policies and programs, is responding to the yearnings of the people, especially in matters of their welfare. Good governance is where a government strives to attend to the needs of the people and indeed manages the finances of the nation transparently and honestly to the satisfaction of the electorate. Under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, GCFR, we are now putting these ideals into action.
All right, that's the event earlier today in Abuja when the APC launched what they call the APC Institute. Well, so much to talk about, everyone. And it's at that point where we ask the question, can the worst of us be leading the best of us? This being some kind of notion that a lot of people have held, that why is it that we do not have the best of us leaders in every strata, both at the local government level, at the state level, and the National Assembly, and at the very, very top? It's happened all through us several years, and those people are asking the question, how do we get the best to get the job done at every strata? Now the local government is getting somewhat of attention, and we're seeing that all of the states are now doing local government election. It behoves on you, wherever you may be. Do not say that it is not your business, because whatever you get, whatever you see, is what you get. And if you don't partake in the process, you will get a worst of the action of those who lead you. And that's why it's important, as much as you partake in this state governorship election and the presidential election and the National Assembly election, the most important election that you need to participate in is the local government election. You see what? If you go to the Constitution, you see a long list of the roles and responsibility of those who are local government leaders. And I say leaders, not only the chairman, but their councillors. The councillors are responsible for those wards, and those wards combine to make up the local government. Where the local governments are functional, the local hospitals are functional. Your sewage system is functional. The local tenement rate and local taxes are properly documented and taken for the interest of the Nigerian people. But if they are not working, that's why the system is what it is today. Don't blame the state governor. Don't blame the president, because you are the problem if you are not taking part. So tonight we'll talk about leadership problem in Nigeria. What is the way forward? But before we get into talking about that, there is an issue in Edo State. The politics is so heated, and there's been a lot of back and forth. The governor is getting a lot of heat tonight. We'll be getting to know what are the issues. What legacy can Obaseki leave behind? But first and foremost, let me serve you with your political roundup stories.
Ahead of the Edo State governorship election on September 21st, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) is appealing to the public to shun the spread of fake news during the electioneering process, just as it asks journalists and bloggers to verify every information with the commission before sharing same. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of Voter Education Committee, Mr. Sam Olumekun, made the appeal at a news conference in Abuja. Mr. Olumekun, who was represented by the Director of Voter Education and Publicity, also highlights some of the steps that the Commission has put in place to curtail the spread of misinformation and fake news.
We are accurately aware of the danger posed by fake news and misleading news, especially during an election period. Such information has the potential to disrupt the electoral process, undermine the public confidence, and incite unnecessary tensions during election.
And a coalition of civil society organizations are asking the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to ensure a transparent and credible electoral process during the Edo State governorship election. The group also urged the Commission to publish the details of accredited agents and their assigned polling units, and prevent political parties from tampering with the agents' lists. At a news conference in Abuja, the leader of the group, Mr. Romanus Azubike, appealed to the police to investigate and prosecute any persons irrespective of their position.
We therefore demand that the Commission must add the condition precedent to bolster confidence in the electoral process ahead of the Edo governorship elections.
Still in Edo State, the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Aswe Igodalo, says he's not happy with the numerous court cases involving party members, in spite of his latest victory in the appeal courts. Mr. Igodalo, who was speaking on the sidelines of the PDP governorship campaign rally, lamented that some party members were trying to ensure that the PDP did not present a candidate in the forthcoming Edo governorship election.
There's so much to do. There's so much poverty in the land. There's so much suffering in the land. We can raise our GDP. We can raise our economy. We can carry our people into prosperity. And there's so much we can all combine together if we truly love our people.
A pro-Wike group in Abuja, the Ariwa Youth for Peaceful Coexistence, is asking President Tinubu to wade into the political feud between the governor of Rivers State and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike. The group spoke against the backdrop of a recent call for the arrest of the FCT minister by elder statesman Edwin Clark. The group describes the call as a plot to weaken Mr. Wike's political clout in Rivers State ahead of the next general election, and to make it impossible for him to deliver the state to the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC). Ahead of the September 28 local government election in Anambra State, the State Independent Electoral Commission (ANSEC) has met with security agencies in the state to ensure a free, fair, and credible poll. The meeting, which was held at the conference room of the Commission's headquarters in Awka, had in attendance representatives of the security agencies in the state with the aim to interact and come up with strategic security plans to tackle insecurity and ensure the elections are safely conducted across the state.
Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us tonight on the program. So our attention is on Edo State first and foremost. So there's been this back and forth, a brickbat, if you must call it, between the APC, the PDP, the Labour Party. Well, one person that's been on the receiving end these days is being the governor of the state, Governor Obaseki, is also ensuring or running to ensure that is the candidate of the PDP succeed him in office. Well, it's natural, isn't it? Because he is a member of his party, and of course, a lot of people say he's responsible in bringing him into the scheme of things. But then there's been these personal attacks, and there are those fundamental questions that we need to be asking beyond the politicking. And the personal attack is an issue of governance. Yeah. What can Governor Obaseki say is going to be the legacy he's leaving behind? What are those things that he would have said he's done over the last 7 years that will convince the people of Edo State to look in the direction of a PDP candidate, since he's rooting for Asue Igodalo? So that one man that you usually don't see talk, who is always by the side or behind or holding forth for Governor Obaseki, because he's always in the kitchen cabinet. He's the chief of staff to the governor, who joins us live tonight. Osagbovo Iyoha is live for us from Edo State. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I mean, it's interesting that you are talking. Usually, we don't hear you, but we see your work. That's sometimes what happens to those who play the role of chief of staff. But whatever that is making the cat meal during the day must be something very significant. I'm particularly bothered about the political brickbat. I'm particularly bothered about the personal attacks. What has gotten too bad? I mean, how have things gotten so bad to the extent that there's now being personal attacks on families of the political heavyweights in the state? Why?
Thank you, Sean. The reason is not far-fetched. When we have a situation where there's a candidate PDP that is talking to his people, and then the other party doesn't have a candidate that will talk. He's talking via proxies. So what do you expect? They don't have something to campaign about. They don't have something to talk about. So they have to make it personal. But we are undaunted, and we are saying that this is what we have done. We want you to classify us based on what we have done. And you tell us what we want to do, because this is what we want to do. Tell us why you want to change a winning team. So if they don't have those details, you expect there to be personal attacks. But like Michelle Obama said, he said, when they go low, we go high. We have issues to talk about. We have things to campaign about. We have reasons to tell Edo people that we have to move ahead and keep on looking forward. But on the other side, they cannot get a single topic to talk about. So what do? They have to use their proxies to start attacking people and throw out the lies, lethargic people and all that. So, they see it's low energy and they go so low. But we said, no, we will not go on that track. Let's go higher. Let's tell the people where Edo was when we came in 8 years ago, where Edo is now, and where we see Edo in 30 years. And that's why we launched the Edo State Physical Master Plan last week, so that the next generation will know where we are headed. So for us, very, very clear.
Yeah, that's what Let me quickly ask you. what exactly is going on with your principal? For those of you who are left working with him, there's this notion and the fact that there are a huge number of people who have left him politically and also within the administrative ranks. Why are people leaving the rank of Governor Obaseki?
Well, Sean, through this, we have changed politics in Edo, and we have changed it forever. We are not going back to Egypt. Before now, you had non-state actors running Edo politics, our revenues and all that. And those are the revenues Obaseki said no. One of the first things he did when he came in was to sanitize governance. You understand? We started running government as the way you run your personal business. You understand? You don't spend what you don't earn. You understand? So these guys that you're talking about, Sean, I must tell you this. I see your program and I see your followers and all. You are trying to push Nigerians to where we should be. We are all today very, very unhappy with the sorry state of things. Power lies with the people. It doesn't lie with one or two leaders that are here and there. They'll tell you that, oh, like the tortoise in the old folk tale, I represent all of you. No. We have a critical mass of young people today that are in a very huge number or percentage of the population, you know. And these guys, they know what governance is supposed to be. They are well read. So who takes care of them? It's the government, and they are the government. They are the people. So the political actors, they are not happy with Obaseki because Obaseki decided that, look, it's the people that have the power. The people first. That is what service is about.
Is that the
so
case,
when these leaders,
Dr.
get their hands on our
is that the
common
case?
patrimony, it became a problem.
Yeah, is that the case, or the
so
fact
that's what the fight is about?
Yeah, is that the case, or the fact that he's not been able to manage his political resources properly? And those around him who have left him, his deputy, no longer on his side, Senator Matthew Ohide, a long list of even federal lawmakers who are no longer speaking for the PDP or on the side of the PDP and have moved to the other side. This does not speak volume about the character of the principal that you work for. And those who will say, who else is a political bigwig in the PDP left that you can point at that were there for him or who received him into the party?
Why would we, for example, jettison a case of zoning, for example? You understand? Philip Shaibu wanted to be governor. And for Christ's sake, there's this arrangement that has been there. What happens to equity, fairness, and justice? You understand? If he had accepted that Philip Shaibu would become governor, Philip Shaibu would still be here today. Oroide left because he did not win the Senate election. Primary, sorry. So the governor says, you guys go to the field. The election is a game of, if you have the numbers, you win. Oroide didn't have the numbers. So he had to leave. So if you also know politics, or like these old school politicians, it's about what I can get for myself. So if they don't get it today, tomorrow they jump ship.
So, but beyond that, Dr. Ozaigbovo, is what, I don't know, the governor will be telling the Edo people. Because I've had conversations with people about Edo politics, and the questions they were asking is, what has Obaseki done? So much that it could use to convince the people of Edo State when they go to the polls, because they call him the MOU governor. They say a lot of MOUs, but little action. A lot of infrastructure promises, but nothing to show for it. What will you be saying? You are probably one of the closest person to him in terms of administration of the state. How do you convince, if you have one single shot or one opportunity to make one single sentence about the performance of Governor Obaseki in the last 7 years, how do you convince the people of Edo State that he is a man that should be believed in, or his legacy can be pointed at?
I have a couple to throw at you. Number one, this was the epicenter of prostitution and illegal immigration 8 years ago. But immediately Obaseki came in, he took care of that. And today, you cannot mention Edo in the same breath with illegal migration or prostitution. And we have more. Is it the Edo Best? Is it the Edo Innovates? Is it the Edo Technical Hub, where we have brought in professionals like Decagon to assist us and so that we can bring in and train software engineers? In what sector? Is it the Edo Health Insurance sector scheme that we have launched? There is so much to talk about, Sheon, if time would allow us. He has done so much for this state, and we know where we were 8 years ago. Is it security? You heard the guys that brought Rema told us that this is probably their most successful show that they have ever had. We had 11,000 people in the stands of Ogbe Stadium and probably another 11,000 in the field and outside. It has never happened before. Ask the organizers. And that is a show that started as early as 7 p.m. and ended at 3 a.m. And we had no incidents of a phone being stolen or somebody being attacked. A lot has been done in this state. The people of the state know, and on the 21st, they will come out to give their verdict.
All right, let's take a bit of an intellectual perspective to this analysis, and you are probably one of the best persons to put it into perspective. So, as a PhD holder, we know how to do analytical defense of a subject matter. So, I'll give you maybe 7 to 10 indices that you can base your measurement of governance on. So if you are to speak to any person who is of international, has an international interest in Edo State, you'll be talking to them in terms of indices, figures. And let me mention a few to you. The Education Performance Index in the state. Where did Obaseki meet it? What is it right now? Employment rate or unemployment rate. What was it? What is it now? Underemployment, where was it? What is it now? Poverty rate in the state, how has it been reduced drastically? If it has changed or not? Where was it? How is it right now? Misery index, how would you judge it? Crime rate in the state, what are the statistics to define it? The productive rate of the people of Edo State, how will you judge it? If you can give us statistics to these indices, because if you stay here and start talking about what has been done and what has not been done, but with these indices, you can easily convince anybody to say, Obaseki has taken the IGR from this level to this level, he has taken unemployment rate to this level and to that level. Maybe those who are watching tonight will have a proper perspective of what Obaseki has done over the last several years.
Okay, let's start with security. On a scale of 10, I would give this government 70%. That's 7. Because we know what we have done in the security sector. For example, when we came, we set up the Edo State Security Network. I can tell you for free that before this time, the Nigerian police would only successfully effect arrests by themselves in about 3 local governments, Oredo, Ego, Ikpoba, the big 3 by themselves. But since the security network came in, we know what they have been able to do. We were riddled with kidnaps on a daily basis, sometimes twice a day, along the Abuja corridor at the Onwode axis. But since we have come in, that is a thing of the past now. You know, just by thinking and talking with our people, and then we put in necessary resources in place to make sure that we plug that. In the education sector, we have moved from analog to digital. You have heard of Edo Best. We have changed the pedagogy of teaching and everything. And today, all our teachers, over 15,000 of them, have been trained and retrained. They keep on getting trained. Over 400,000 pupils have benefited from these schemes. So much has happened in this state. If I remember, which other
now you just make an assessment, a self-assessment. I'm talking about statistics, confirmed statistics, indices.
Yes.
I spoke about unemployment rate. I spoke about misery index.
Every government, every responsible government, if you ask me, what government does is to create that environment where businesses can thrive.
But Dr. Osagbo, I imagine that as an intellectual, I imagine that as an intellectual, it's easy for you to extrapolate and be able to analyze with statistics what your government has done, because it's easy for you to say unemployment rate was so. I can tell you the unemployment rate in Edo State, what it was and what it is right now. And I can tell you the unemployment rate in Nigeria, what it was 4 years ago, and what is it right now. These are simple statistics. You can be able to tell the inflation rate in Nigeria. You can be able to tell the GDP. You can be able to tell how many people are out of jobs, how many students that are on the street who are out of school. It's easy to tell.
I can only tell you where we are now and where we were coming from. You understand? In 2016, when Governor Obaseki became a governor, I was a member of the House of Assembly then. So we knew what was on ground. We did not have a place where the investors could come in as a state.
What was the crime rate? What was the crime rate like?
It was horrible.
How many people were being killed on the streets of Edo State?
Even in
now, what is it right now? Because those are easy ways to say. We cannot just be pedestrian in the conversation. We need to put perspective to it.
It is not pedestrian conversation. It is what's on ground. It is where we are coming from as a state. Because the other party, they don't have anything to talk about. It's to feed people with lies. So we have to tell our people what we have been able to achieve through the years. You understand? We had cult groups coming into government house, asking for their own money before elections. But immediately Obaseki came in, we trashed all this, and when you come to government house today, it's like a place where you can transact good business. There is trust from investors. People come in, when they see what is on ground, I'd say, okay, yes, these are people who could do business.
So, how many jobs have been added since Obaseki came? How many schools have been newly built? How many schools have been renovated? How many hospitals have been added? I'm just asking to be able to guide. It's an opportunity for you to establish the legacy of your principle tonight. And that's what I'm trying to
What
help
we
you to
are
achieve.
working on is one primary healthcare center per ward. We have 192 wards in Edo. Regarding the schools, for once our children are learning, it's not about the infrastructure, just the infrastructure anymore. They are learning. And I don't know if you have heard this case of the student who was in primary 2, his elder brother was in primary 5, as at when the governor came in. And then the parents realized that the primary 5 pupil couldn't read. But the primary 2, who had gone through Edo Best, could read. So the parent was forced to approach the school and say, look, this is happening in my house. And so what happened? They had to advise the boy to drop classes so that he can benefit from Edo Best. So it's interesting to know that Edo State has one of the highest numbers of private schools in Nigeria. But since we have come in the last couple of years, we have witnessed a trend where parents are now pulling children from private schools and bringing them into public schools. so that they can gain
All right.
from what Edo Best has done.
Just for a moment, so that
see what we are doing.
Yeah, so that we can wrap up the
Rwanda
conversation.
has brought people to see what to study Edo Best, so that they can reciprocate it in their own climes.
All right. How would you say, generally speaking, that Edo State under Obaseki has been? How would you describe, just in one sentence?
We have a good story to tell under Godwin Obaseki, Edo State. We have taken it, moved it miles ahead of where we met it. And we have no doubt that Aswe Ighodalo is even going to take it twice, thrice more than what we have done.
Is Aswe Ighodalo the best of the candidates that we have on offer today? And why?
Is that a question?
Yes. Is it the best man for the job? And why do you think so?
I think one of the problems we have had as a country is the process with which we recruit leadership. Aswe Ighodalo he has thrived in his private businesses. He stepped down away from 17 companies, from the board of 17 companies, to run to become governor. The other candidates, can you tell me what they are stepping away from?
All right. Just so that we can clear the air and close this conversation, what is this about Governor Obaseki's wife and the response that we're getting from Senator Adams Oshiomhole? Is it possible that we can get some clarity and what exactly is the Governor Obaseki office? How is it reacting to that matter?
I would have refrained from giving this issue meat. However, I would just like to throw some light into it. At Ubiaja, on the flag off ceremony, while the First Lady was speaking, she was trying to introduce Ifeyinwa Ighodalo, that's Aswe Ighodalo's wife, to the audience. And she said, if I leave this seat as First Lady, you know what I've done towards empowering the female gender, empowering women. From day one, once this woman comes in, Mrs. Ighodalo, you are sure that women are going to be empowered. She would fight your cause and all that. And as we speak, she's the only person out of the candidates that has a wife that will hit the ground running on day one. You covered it live. That was a harmless statement. And then you have somebody who's supposed to be an elder statesman come down so low to the level that he has taken himself. That's what she said. And we know in Benin, in our state, it's forbidden, the kind of statement that he made. And the women will pay them back, will pay his party back with, he pay it back in his own coins, bad coins, come 21st of September. We have no doubt. It's forbidden in our state. You don't do that. In engineering, we call that practical jokes.
All right.
Practical jokes are hazardous.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Dr. Ozaigbovo Yoha, who is the Chief of Staff to the Governor of Edo State. You don't usually see his likes in broad daylight, but when you see them, it means that there is a need for the masquerade to dance in broad daylight. So thank you so much for coming in defense of Governor Obaseki's performance and his legacies. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. We take a break, everyone, but when we return, a leadership consultant, a leadership development consultant will be talking to us about Nigeria, the leadership question, and the way forward. What about your own role as a citizen? It gets our attention after now, everyone. So much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's focus our attention now to issues relating to governance in this country, not only at the highest level, but also from the lowest level, and also how much of a role leadership plays in our politics. I'm being joined by Dr. Lionel Okori, who is a leadership development consultant. Thank you so much, Dr. Okori. It's good to see you again.
Always good to see you.
The last time the gray hairs were not as this much. But it's a sign of wisdom, they say, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. We are at that point, and I said something earlier that the best of us should be leading the most of us. And why are the worst of us sometimes leading the best of us? And those who have accused an average citizen of being laid back, of being idle in terms of active participation in a citizenship role in electing or recruitment of leadership in this country. But first and foremost, how bad is our leadership recruitment process in this country?
So, Shehu, the truth of the matter is that at the moment, the deficit of leadership capital across board is alarming. So what that means is that for any nation to make progress, right, there must be a critical mass of the people who think and act like leaders. So what it means is that if people who are going to make decisions, if it is just to vote, decisions to vote people into power, whether it's local government, whether it is state governorship, or whatever it is, if those people do not think like leaders, if they don't act like leaders, what will happen is that they will think like slaves. They will think like people who take the temporal things more seriously than the long-term things, which means stomach infrastructure will overshadow the thinking of those types of individuals. So they'll make decisions for now. They will not make decisions for the future. So most of the time when we talk about leadership, we always look at those who are occupying public positions. Most of the people who occupy public positions are not necessarily leaders. They are occupying positions of leadership as a result of whichever way that they were thrown up.
So let's get it clear. So anybody that you see in public office today,
yes,
we term and see them as leaders.
No, they're not. No, they're not necessarily leaders.
Okay.
They are not necessarily leaders. Positions.
So it's like if you see any human being in Nigeria, does not necessarily mean that he's a Nigerian.
Absolutely.
So anybody in a position of authority is not literally a leader.
No, it's not necessarily.
So what makes a leader?
So they are occupying public positions. So I give you two quick definitions of leadership. That helps us. Dr. Miles Monroe defined leadership as the ability to inspire, motivate, drive a group of people towards a particular direction by inspiration, not intimidation or manipulation. At the center of that definition, influence is at the heart of it. So if you are a person, whether occupying position or not, you have the ability, based on what you have become, based on what people see that you have become. You are somebody who is interested in the growth of other people. You are somebody who is interested in having great vision for the future, helping others, by inspiring them, motivating them.
Not by intimidating.
Not by intimidating them. So you have a system whereby people help people to become much more.
So legitimacy of office or of leadership is also very critical.
It's important. So what we're saying here is that my own definition of transformational leadership is that concept of leadership that places value on people, premium on people, inspired by vision and supported by sound principles. And those sound principles, they are what changes the leader himself.
So two things here, Dr. Okori. Vision and principles.
Yes.
So principles goes beyond only having good character,
Absolutely.
but also having the traits of someone who you can emulate. Right.
Absolutely.
Now, having the vision, so anybody that cannot clearly state a vision of where it's leading others to,
absolutely,
and who does not have the ability of in character and in competence cannot be a leader.
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying.
So this definition of leadership, so it cuts all across. If you're a business leader, you own your business, you are somebody from the village. And that's why, if you notice, you see an individual in the village who has not gone to school, has not even gone to school. But this individual over time has been able to impact the lives of people around him, and the way he has conducted himself or she has conducted herself in such a way that people can now respect that individual. See, when that individual rises to speak, right, every other person is quiet. They are inspired by him, but he didn't go to school. But he can mobilize the entire community in a single conversation.
But why is, I like, so I see a billboard here in Abuja. I see that you're bringing the likes of Brian Tracy tonight. This is a very prominent leadership coach and a development person. And I'm imagining, we've heard and sing and listen to a lot of people who talk about all of these issues. But the fundamental is, how does it affect the bottom line of our own leadership question in the country? Why is it that we have the worst of us leading the best of us? Are we able to answer that question tonight?
So the thing is that if Nigerians, you have a critical mass of Nigerians, remember, who think like leaders, who are leaders, even though they occupy positions, and the only decision they make is to ensure that they use their power of decision to ensure that those who are coming to be local government chairmen at that level are people who have certain metrics. There are metrics you can use to measure. Do these people want to occupy positions? Do they have vision? Are they people of courage? Are they action people? Do they take action for the good of the people? Are they selfless? Are they selfless? Has there been any specific proof that over time, because we know them in our communities, that they have proven that even without positions, they have added value to those that are around them? What is their mental capacity, their ability to think, for the sake of the community? And Asamoah wrote a book and titled it Leaders Eat Last. Does this individual, does he have the capacity to eat last
when other people, when his
absolutely
people have not eaten?
Absolutely. Does he have the capacity to think beyond himself?
So we are probably in a country where our leaders are feeding fat, and their people are looking lean.
So the context of the conversation is that what we're saying is that you need a critical mass of people, remember, who think differently. And let me even say this, even the dealer in hope, every leader must be a dealer in hope.
To be able to sell hope.
There is a leadership language. Every individual.
So hope is very important.
Hope is important.
You need to be able to sell it properly.
Absolutely. Let me even say this to you, right? If a critical mass of people at this point in time believe that this country can work, take for instance, right? Election is over, right? Now we're supposed to be having governance in place, right? If everybody says, you know what, can we, for instance, throw all our support to a Nigeria that will work for everybody? The language, the way we describe Nigeria, the way we talk about Nigeria as a failed state, all those kinds of conversation. If we can change that type of conversation, it takes a lot of leadership development efforts for those type of conversation to change. What does that mean? It means that there must be huge investment in mindset transformation. The people have been hurt. The people over a period of time have been disappointed. There's this thing that most people no longer believe, right? In anything called politics in that sense, right? So they are dissatisfied with what has been going on over a long period of time. Therefore, the tendency will be that when people speak about this country, it will be in hate. When people speak about this country, it will not be something that is inspirational. So at the end of the day, it is important that we all begin to build a new mindset. So that is critical.
It's difficult to be able to unite the nation and move them in a direction after the election if you don't have the ability to sell hope.
Absolutely. Now, so vision will be the driving force for that.
Where are we going? You must have the local government chairman to be able to tell the people,
this is where we are going.
I want to make this local government a groundnut producing local government.
Absolutely.
I want to make this local government a goat producing local government.
Yes.
And how do I go about it? It must be able to sell it to his people.
Absolutely.
A leader of the nation must be able to tell the people, yes, this is where I'm taking you to. But let me ask you, must every leader, because I see, you will never make the MD of a bank, without having a requisite educational
Absolutely.
and the progression in career.
Absolutely.
And I'm not sure you can bring anybody from being a bank manager to going to become a bank MD.
Absolutely.
There is a progression.
Yes.
In fact, CBN will have to certify your position when you get to maybe AGM or DGM before you become an MD. So there is a requisite qualification. Should every leader, anybody who wants to lead Nigeria, should they go to a particular school to learn leadership?
The interesting thing is that anybody who wants to lead, whether it's a local government, whether even it's a business, you want to run a business, there are specific leadership traits that you must learn. You must learn either through experience, you must learn either through the lives of other people, you must learn either through specific case studies, you must learn through submitting yourself in an institution that has a responsibility, that has been groomed to train leaders. And that's why there are certain individuals in the world who cannot necessarily lead unless they pass through certain kinds of schools, because in those schools there are fundamental curriculum that's been designed to help people, for instance, understand the true concept of vision and why vision is important for growth. For instance, you have those institutions teach people to be the concept of selflessness and legacy living, how to leave a legacy. Take, for instance, my brother, how would you want to lead a local government and you are not prepared in the elements of communication? For instance, how to communicate vision to the local people. You're not gifted in that.
That's supposed to be
it's supposed to be a
trait.
How do you want to lead politically without compassion?
But unfortunately,
compassion is critical.
Dr. Okore, the Constitution of Nigeria said the minimum qualification to become even the president of Nigeria is school cert.
So that's why you have to go back to the mindset of the people, the leadership capital of the people that created those types of documents. Because the truth of the matter is that you can must have had school cert as a certificate, right? But you must have also had certain leadership capital. You love people.
But no. So this is the point I'm coming. This is where I'm coming from. Let's say, for example, the governor of a state.
Yes.
Is going to govern and create environment for private sector to thrive.
Absolutely.
Now, if he has never made 1 naira for himself,
yes,
how does he create an environment? How does he's going to be leading industrialists,
yes,
who are making money? How does he create policy for them when the Constitution says what you need is a school cert?
So that literally has to change, because the intellectual capacity of the leader is important, which means leadership flows to the one who knows, right? But the interesting thing is this, that even when people have PhDs and being professors, that doesn't qualify them to be leaders. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. There must be a balance, right? So if you have intellectual strength, you must also have vision, intelligence.
Should we put people in a room to train them for leadership when they are being elected?
The thing is, like, historically, where are they coming from?
Okay.
For instance, Aristotle, remember him? Socrates, in his days, used to say, go about and say, make progress in the world and looking for the best practices that are available all over. So when he now is thrown in a place of leadership, whether it's at the local government level, what happens? He already has competencies, he already has capacity, he already has the networks necessary, and he also knows that he cannot do it alone. So he has to learn delegation, the ability to select quality men and women to surround the leader. One of the greatest things that the leader needs is executive intelligence, and part of the critical element of executive intelligence is the ability to assemble quality men who are selfless, who have the capacity to think with competencies to drive the program.
I was having a conversation, and there was a crop of some guys in the Singaporean cabinet.
Yes.
And most of them, about 90 or 80% of them, have gone through the Kennedy School of Governance.
Absolutely.
And it is not by accident that this is happening.
Yes.
Because they are going to make policy that's going to lead the people, and they're going to learn how to do that. But in Nigeria, what do we have? I'm so pushed to imagine that we need to take leadership seriously. And when I saw the Brian Tracy program that Brian Tracy is going to talk, I said, And that's why I called you.
Yes.
So you need to come and talk about leadership in our country.
Absolutely.
And that kind of national development that we are talking about, we cannot get it started if you don't fix leadership.
My brother, for 31 years, I've been struggling as an individual voice, saying we must have leadership development effort. Government must invest in leadership development. Institutions must invest. America spends over $180 billion for leadership development. And that is why now we are saying there's a national leadership conference coming up in Abuja at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel on the 20th and 21st of September.
What solution are you proffering?
The solution is leadership capital for wealth creation. Leadership capital for wealth creation. So when there is
solid leadership, there is the automatic activation of wealth.
When there is leadership capital, there is value generation. And the marketplace does not recognize faces, it recognizes only value. And if you have a critical mass of people trained on how to generate value in a sustainable manner, it is the value that is generated, the idea that grows to become a service, that becomes a product. So we must have people who are locked up in a room, thinking innovation, thinking reinvention, thinking re-impacting the system, and building a critical mass of people who have great vision for the future and who are willing to help. These are big names in leadership development.
Linus Okorie, thank you so much for your effort. And when people are making effort in their own individual capacity, we're encouraged because our nation must move forward.
And they can actually go to the website, and also my timeline. On your social media. On my social media platform, Linus Okorie, and quickly get information.
Linus Okorie is a leadership development consultant. Thank you. I believe so much in Nigeria. I don't know about you. If we come together as a people, believing in what we have as a nation, we will go so far. Thanks so much for watching us. God bless you.